Good morning, everyone. Sorry I was a little bit late there. Get us off to a late start for the day. Hopefully that's not a bad omen. I've been spending the last couple of minutes digging around for a flip that evidently has decided to sprout legs and walk away. So, flip number 1 for this particular... Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I've got the wrong... I have one more to go before I figure out what I'm doing here. You know what? I've got these stuffed in the wrong ones. I'm going to have to start this over. Sorry. My brain is not on full gear this morning, but guess what? My scope is working. At least there's that much, right? My brain's not, but my scope is. I was stuffing reveal number 327 in the flip inserts for reveal number 328, and I had lost number 1. I couldn't find it. Couldn't figure out what I was doing, and then I figured out, oh yeah, I grabbed number 1 for 328 with 327 sitting over here waiting for me to stuff them. So I'm all good now, and everything is all kosher. We will get started at 10:30. But until then, we can chitter-chatter and see how life is going. Eric, I think you got at least one nice RPM last night, if not more than one. I know that there were a lot of RPMs pulled out of those rolls last night. That was an excellent pull last night. We did some great stuff and then some. Okay, now I'm ready to actually get started. Let me get these put away where they belong. We will do 328 later today, but not right now. Right now is the time for 327. So let me go ahead and get this stuffed. The names have been changed to protect the guilty. You row in 3 in the first row. I think you got an RPM 2 in the second row at least. You might have got an RPM 1 in the second row. Not really sure. You'll see them soon enough. Hopefully I can get everything else done today and get them mailed off. I have to get up to number 331. And hopefully I can finish all that today. If not today, I'll get them finished tomorrow. Get them shipped off. So we can start yet another wonderful week. Did who get whose email? You talking to me, Malcolm? Or someone else? Did you get my email? If you were directing that at me, I have not checked email yet. I was kindly reminded whilst having my morning coffee that I was being summoned to the reveal room. And I was rattled and shaken at my lack of paying attention to what I was doing when I scheduled these. Did I get your email, Chuck? No, I did not. I may have, but I have not checked it. So, I don't know. I don't usually check email until I've been up and around a while. I spent last night working on prepping stuff, trying to get everything ready for today, and, well, I miserably failed at that, but I am here nonetheless. No, Malcolm, I have not received an email yet. I may have received it. I don't know. I just haven't looked at it. I have not checked email today. Okay. This means I'm ready to go. How about that? Alrighty then, here we go, a 1962D original machine wrapped roll. And it is nice and tightly crimped at both ends, and we are going to get started here by attempting to pick this roll apart. There we go. Takes a little while sometimes to get that first little fold undone. After that, it should be pretty simple. And it is. 1962D. Got a number of pretty decent RPMs. 1962D. Got a few double die reverses. Maybe a double die obverse or two. It's actually a relatively active issue. Mac, I don't remember them right now. Sorry. I'm 0 for 2 on remembering communications. When I get in this show mode, everything else in the world just kind of drops away. I'm just ready to do my show. I don't right off remember it. Alright, coin number 1 goes to Eric. And what do we have on coin number 1? Let me get this thing. Let me get it centered in just a little bit better and get it focused just a little bit better. Now, this was a side that was facing the outside, which means it's going to be a little grimier than we might like. See what we got going on here. Well, that's machine doubling on the outside of the IB of Liberty. You can tell that because it looks like a cut and not actually rounded off doubling. Just check the reverse real quick. Now, we're going to need to check the reverses on these until we're satisfied that there are no double die reverses in the roll. Because, well, 1962D does have some listed double die reverses. Just to see. Here we go. Yo man, number 2. Okay. This could be a minor double die. Right there on the 2. Get a little, what looks like might be a little hook coming up on the 2. In the center of the 2 here. Let me check it a little bit better here. Now, I'm going to have to zoom in to look at it. No, I'm going to have to go with die gouge on this one. I'm looking at this little thing right here. That does not look like this down here, and that's what we're looking for, is a duplicate of that down there. That just doesn't look right. So, I'm going to go with not a double die on that one. I'm sorry, Mac. When you catch me the first hour I'm awake in the morning, I'm not usually completely with it, as you can see. Still working on trying to come to terms with the fact that I'm awake. So, I've been awake for probably 2 or 3 hours. It's just that I'm kind of slow in the mornings. Slow getting up, slow getting around, slow-minded. Just kind of a weirdo. Strange ways. Checking the reverse here to see if we have anything, and it looks like we do not. Checking everything toward the rim. especially looking for Class 2 or Class 6. Big difference, folks, between Class 2 and Class 6 is that Class 2 is going to have separation. You're actually going to have two separate devices. Class 6 is basically just a fattening or a stretching of the devices that are existing, so you don't really see much extra. Here's another one of those, same die. Watching for doubled eyelids here too, and extra pieces on the letters in trust. Just kind of watching for anything. 62D can surprise you sometimes. When you're not looking, you'll miss something. Yes, there are double die reverses known for 1962D. There are actually a few pretty nice ones. That's what I thought I was seeing. This is a very, very minor double die reverse. And I'll show you how you can tell. I get really close to it. Get it nice and... You see how the bottom the bottom edge of the E, you see how that's not just a sharp line? You see how it's kind of a thick line? Well, that is actually doubling. There's actually two edges there, very close together. You can see it up here, how there's a little bit of extra stretching in the center as well. On the bottom of the C, you can see it right there. There's a little bit of extra stretching going on there. This is going to be too minor to list, but I do want to show it to you anyhow, because this is kind of what you're looking for. See how the serif down here does not come to a point? How you've got like basically 2 points that are kind of, I don't know, melded together into one rounded point. You can see a little bit of doubling on the bottom of the N and on the bottom of the T. Let's take a look at the FG initials. This is where I first saw it. You can actually see some doubling on the bottom of the F if I can get it turned in the right direction for you to actually see it here. There we go. Right here, you can see a little bit of doubling right there on the bottom of the F. You can see a little bit, you can see a separation line there on the G, and this has been crushed, so it's really hard to tell there. But this is so minor, it's not going to be a listable variety. You can see it there on the N as well. In 1. You have to have it turned just right to the light, but then you can see how this serif is not just a pointed serif. There's actually two serifs there kind of mushed together. So we're not going to be able to count this one, though. You don't need a better microscope. You just need to not pay so much attention to the little tiny details, because these little tiny details don't matter that much. They don't matter enough. It's not enough there to count. Well, that's coin number 3, Jim Fletcher. This might be the only doubling in the roll, though, unfortunately, but we'll see. Matt comes up next. Coin number 5. And let me get myself reset here, ready to look at coins. Not in the atomic sense, but in the actual detail sense, so we can see what we're doing without too much magnification. There we go. Okay, see, this one appears to have a little more to it on that 2 there, but I'm still going to call this gouge because we have other die scratches in the same direction in the same area. It appears to be a part of the die scratches, so we're not going to count that. The only time you can count stuff like that's when you see something that's in very early die state. Very early die state is going to show you very, very sharp lines that give you... Now see, here is a normal coin, just to give you the contrast, the difference. You see how that line is so much sharper here? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that dullness of that line. You look over here, everything's normal. This is a normal coin. I'm just trying to show you the difference, because you just saw what was a minor double die reverse. Excuse me. Still trying to wake up. I work on waking up for about the first 4 hours I'm awake. That way the last 18 hours go by better. Yeah, I'm awake a pretty decent percentage of the day, actually. Here's one from Marshall. Coin number 5. Let's see what coin number 5 has for us. Get this thing put back in order here. Looks like we're back to our first die of the roll. I think I'm settled down and ready to do my work. Let's see. I have to take a little bit of a break between this reveal and the next one, but we will get straight into the next reveal. It'll take me about 15 minutes or so to get ready. Finish my coffee and make sure that I'm not missing flips. Kind of harsh when you get up in the morning and don't even know what you're doing. You know? Yeah, a scope with this zoom capability is actually a little bit overdone for coins. And so you have to kind of learn to back away a little bit when you're using a scope like this, because you don't want to molecularly pull apart the surface of the coin looking for doubling. That's just not the point here. The point is to use the scope to be able to see doubling better if it does exist, not to create doubling where it doesn't necessarily already exist. And so that's kind of what we're after, is to find what's there and not make up what's not, if that makes any sense. And I see a number of times people are going to the smallest nth degree of fly speck looking for stuff, and, well, they find something and it's like, hey, look what I found. Yeah, no. Not going to be anything that's... yes, it could possibly be a double die. It could possibly be an RPM, but look at what you're doing. You're pulling it apart at the surface of the molecular level, and it's, just not really enough. Not enough meat on that bone, I say. All right, flip it over and take a look at the reverse. This is one of our minor double die reverses. You can see how the line on the E is less sharp. I do continue to look, though, just to be sure, one way or the other. Like winning the lottery? Yeah, maybe. One for Stonecutter. See what Stonecutter gets here. Let's see. It's another one of our minor double die reverses here. You can actually see that there's two lines at the bottom of the E. Now that you know what you're looking for, it should be pretty easy to spot it. But it's very, very minor. In fact, the doubling on the D is actually visible, on the G is actually visible on this one, because it's not damaged like the other one was. But you can see that, I mean, even at this low light here, you can see that this is extra thick right here. And then this over here, you can see a little bit of doubling there and a little doubling here. It's just so minor. So minor. There we go. Got it ready to look at the next coin. You want to hear me do the boxing thing? Oh, maybe later. Right now, it's not a good time. Let's see. I'm more the quiet type. See? More the quiet type. Happy little tree living right over here. Oh, there's a squirrel. Gotta get our 2-inch house brush here and make a little tree. Lives right over here just like that. Yeah, I know he gets paid a lot of money for saying that. I've been watching, actually. There's a website called Backstage. And I've been watching Backstage for the possibility of getting into maybe a voice gig or two. But I haven't done anything about it yet. Most of it's acting stuff, especially like extras for movies and whatnot. And I just don't want to do that. I would prefer just to have my voice heard and not my face seen. It works for me. Let's see here. That's not doubling on the bottom of the 2. Not doubling. This is a later die stake coin here. Not sure that we've seen this die before, so it could be something exciting. We're only on the 10th coin. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we've seen all the dies in the roll once you hit 10 coins. Generally, I'm going to start calling it quits when it comes to the different number of dies. Right around the 25th coin, right around the middle of the roll. Another little struck through. Interesting little guy. I've seen a few of them here. Dies were kind of dirty when these were made. A proof 1962 DDO cent. Well, there's a lot of them out there. By type, they are very common. By individual die, if you can figure out exactly which die you have, that makes them a lot less common. Thus, it also makes them more valuable when you can identify the die. If you just have a 1962 proof DDO, they're $1 or $2, maybe $3. If you can identify the actual die that struck that coin, probably $15, $20 in really nice condition. And that also depends on the double die. If it's a really strong one, then more. If it's a weak one, then less. But I have rolls of 62 proof double dies. SpongeBob. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I would like to do. I don't know that I make a really good storyteller like Morgan Freeman. I don't think I have that kind of voice. I'm also not like a powerful bass voice. I don't have that either. Like James Earl Jones, Luke, I am your father. It just doesn't work. I'm just not quite bassy enough. Come up with a trademark saying? You might have to help me with that. Might have to run a contest and see what Chuck's trademark saying is going to be, without it being something just really stupid or corny. I stay away from really stupid and corny.
Hey, you know what kind of fish those are? Yeah, don't be coy. They're koi fish.
If you printed off directions to get here, you're in the right place.
Yeah, that guy's got money spilling out of his pockets, I'm sure. You know, we're not really finding anything in this roll. That's a bummer. It's the way you say it. What do you mean by that, crusty coins? Are you talking about wore down? You talking about where it looks weak? That just comes from the strike. It's a lack of strike. Not enough to completely fill in the devices. See, here's the deal with that. You look at this area of the coin right here, and it's a very, very high relief area. So you've got a lot of relief here, which means there's a lot of metal sticking up from the field. And so you flip the coin over, and directly opposite that, you're going to find this area of states. So this not striking up all the way and leaving some mottling behind, which is what this is, M-O-T-T-L-I-N-G, mottling. And mottled means that it's dotted or has little lines or speckled. And that is that's what you see when you don't have a total and complete strike. And that total and complete strike or lack thereof is the cause of it is the bust on the other side. This is where the middle of the head is, like where the ears and other stuff like that. That's why the bottom of the steps rarely come out. And I will tell you something. For these issues, these early memorial issues, in order to get an MS-67 grade, you have to have pretty much full steps. So your steps have to be pretty much complete to get an MS-67 grade. So you can have an otherwise perfect-looking coin. You won't get a 67 on a coin struck like this. It has to have a very sharp strike. Now here's number 16. Mark A. Don't see Mark all that often anymore. Wish we'd see him more. It's a reminiscing thing, reminiscent, to see people that you're used to continue to see people that you're used to having around. It's kind of a comfort thing. I enjoy it. And when people just, they decide it's not collecting season, so they take off for a while. I miss them. Wish I had them around. Just to chit-chat. Let's just say hi. Okay, looks like 16 coins in. We've pulled nothing yet. We do have a very minor double die reverse that's just not enough. But we've not found anything else. Nothing yet that warrants special attention. In fact, I think that Ready to Rumble thing might even be, the way he says it, it could even be trademarked. If it's trademarked, then I could get my video pulled for doing it. So I think I'm going to refrain. Yeah, some of the 60s letters and numbers look fat, and here's the reason why. They're shaped like a trapezoid, and trapezoid is kind of the shape of the little stool the elephants get on at the circus. They have a a thicker base and a smaller top. And the reason they're trapezoidal shape or beveled is so that they'll fall out of the die properly after the strike. So before you eject the coin, you want it to fall off the die, and you do that by not making a bunch of square edges. So all the edges are kind of tilted inward a little bit. I'll draw you a picture and explain it just a little bit with my Bob Ross pen. So if you look at a device on a coin, and you're looking at it from a cross section, like you cut the coin and you look at it from the side, you're going to see it's going to look something like this. Okay, let's do this. There we go. It's going to look like this. So it's going to have beveled sides. And if you're looking at it normally with your beveled sides, well, then your top up here, all this area right up here across the top of it, is going to be narrow. So it's going to be this wide. Okay, it's going to be that wide. Well, if you could imagine not filling that up all the way and making it a little shallower, what you're going to end up with is something that's a little bit wider. That didn't work. Let me do this. There. If you cut it across that line right there, the area that you're looking at will be wider than it was across the top. Okay. So what you end up with is thicker letters when they're not struck up all the way. That's the gist of it. And see, these are rounded at the top, so they're nice and struck up all the way. But when you get over here to the STA of states, they're not struck up all the way because you can see that modeling on the top. And that modeling on the top tells you we're not struck up all the way. So they look a little bit thicker. So for instance, the stem on the T, right over here, the stem on this T looks thicker than the stem on the E over here. And the reason for that is partly optical illusion, but it's also partly truth. And the part that's truth is because those letters are beveled. And if you don't strike them up all the way, they're going to be wider. A nice little struck through there. And struck through is all over the place in this roll. Seems that the dies were a little messy when they were minting these coins. Dimebag Darren says Canadian coins. Hello, Dimebag Darren. Now, I'm not really sure what kind of a voice job I should be looking for. I've kind of been watching them to see if there might be something that kind of sparks my interest, and I haven't seen anything I think I'm qualified for. Very strange. I guess maybe I'm a little hard on myself, but I haven't seen anything that tells me, hey, you need to take that. That right there is what you should do. See how we're not struck up all the way on the E, S, and the O of? Look at the pluribus, E pluribus unum. Looks very, very thick. And the reason for that? Well, they're just not struck up all the way. It's a very weak strike. You can see that because, well, you've got an area all the way up that has barely any step detail. Catching phrase. Something like the little slogan that I made up for Lincoln Cent. Your one-stop cent shop. A gangster cartoon cat. Huh. Gangster cartoon cat. Well, how about that? Not even sure where to go with that. Kind of like I don't know, the Don Pablo guy sits in the back. Bring him to me. Let me talk to him. Hey Johnny, go take this cat for a ride. I don't know if I could do that. Not really sure. This is an RPM. It's a relatively minor RPM, but it is one. You can see the split on the top. Well, maybe not. There. Let's take it down to that angle. Now you can see the split on the top. Little split serif right up there on the top. Guess we can go ahead and start pulling these out. Got a nice heavy die scratch coming south off the left side of the D. Oh, big old die scratch out in front of the nose. People trying to come up with a phrase for me, I see. Could do the truck and tractor pull commercials. Sunday, Sunday. The biggest trucks in Texas come together. Sunday, Sunday. Here's one from Malcolm. And on this one we have a normal coin. It's very interesting die scratches on this one though. In school, but you're still watching. What kind of school? ZL Numismatics? Let's see what we got going on here. Well, I got nothing on the obverse, but I do believe this is a die I haven't seen before, so. You're in high school watching YouTube? Must be a boring class. Must be a really boring class. Watching a guy dig through a roll of coins at high school. Consider yourself blessed. When I was in high school, there was no such thing as YouTube. There was no such thing as the internet. The only thing that existed was the occasional bulletin board that you could get to that was basically a text message bulletin board. Of course, at that point in time, text messaging was a completely different animal altogether. Why? Well, because we didn't have cell phones either. What cell phones did exist did not have any kind of texting capability. Your texting basically came through a pager, which only allowed you like, I don't know, 40 characters or something like that. It was kind of a lost situation, but I tell you what, we made it. We figured it out, you know. Made it through life one way or another. Even having to walk to school in the waist-deep snow uphill both ways, barefoot. Well, this is not the prettiest roll of 1962D. I just thought that there might be something in here. I saw this roll and I thought, wow, we need to do a 62D roll sometime just to see. MTV started when you were a senior in high school. I think MTV started when I was in the 9th grade. So, 8th or 9th grade. And the first MTV video was I need an agent. An agent for what? A voiceover agent? Yeah, my problem is first I need a voiceover job. Just one job. Then I might have a reason for an agent. Remember when we first got cable in our house? First got cable, 1981. Video killed the radio star. There you go. Wasn't it, boy. Well, now I can't remember his name. Peter Gabriel? I've seen this marker, and I'm not really exactly sure why. This marker tells me that I've seen this before, and I know it, and I don't know why. It's an interesting little die gouge. It runs in the bottom of the N of United. And I don't remember what I had used that for. I'll flip it back over in the obverse again and take another look at the obverse, because I keep thinking that had to be... There's a reason why I'm remembering it. No doubled eyelid. It's not an RPM. Well, yeah, Saturday Night Live used to be good. Saturday Night Live used to be Saturday Night Live. But it has quite fallen apart over the years. I try watching it now, and there's just not really much of anything fun about it. All right, here's one for Bob. I tried doing the movie announcement thing one time, and that didn't work out for me. I just can't pull it off. My voice just doesn't do it that way. I'm not so sure it was Belushi that kind of brought it to its knees. It was pretty long after Belushi. I mean, they were still doing some pretty good stuff in the 80s into the 90s. Eddie Murphy was good. Chris Farley was good. Some of the stuff Dana Carver did was good. Then you got Mike Myers. Mike Myers was a pretty good addition to the Saturday Night Live cast. So, it was different. Let's just put it that way. It was very different after John Belushi. But I wouldn't go so far as to say it ended after John Belushi. Krusty Coin, I appreciate it, buddy. You come back and hang around again sometime, anytime. Mr. Bill. Oh, no! Mr. Bill! Or when Eddie Murphy would play Gumby. Merry Christmas, damn it. Yeah, well. I guess easy come, easy go sometimes. hate it when it's the first roll of the day, you know. But hey, it is what it is. Sometimes these things turn out great. Sometimes they just don't. Let me bring my lighting up a little bit so we can see. How about that? There we go. That might be too much. Need a little bit more light though. And see, now I need less. Once in a while I see some of the stuff they do on Saturday Night Live that's still good, but the overbearing difference between the modern Saturday Night Live and the vintage Saturday Night Live is the politics. Well, if they could just keep the politics out of it, it would be so much better. You know, whatever happened to back in the days when a guy put on a samurai belt and a samurai sword to cut sandwiches? I mean, that was funny. Or what about the cork soakers? I mean, they were fun. They were fun too. And the commercials they used to do, those were fun. All that was kind of like really fun because it took I don't know, comedic skill to do that. And now they're just, I don't know. I'm not a politics person, period. I don't get into politics, don't like politics, don't like talking about politics, don't consider politics fun or funny in any sense. They're messing with our lives. And so seeing parody of politics and how people make fun of the politics, it's just a sad state of affairs. It isn't funny. I see nothing funny at all about someone making fun of whomever the current president is. It's just lack of respect for the position. Heck, there almost is no respect for the presidential position anymore. That's why nobody with good mind will even try to take the seat. Because they know how brutal the people are about it. If people had quit being so brutal, we could get a decent president. Right? The same die over and over again now. He has nothing on it. No hub doubling on either side. Not an RPM. John Brandon Bow. Let's see what we can get for John Brandon Bow. Looks like we got a little minor bar L double die going on here. Looks interesting. I'll definitely hold this one out. Give Eric an example of what to dig for when he goes through the rest of the roll. Now, is this the one that has that marker? No, it isn't. Okay. Alright, so we'll flip it over and do a little bit of education. This is what we know of as a bar L. You can see a little bit of doubling down below the L. That little bit of doubling is actually another L. Just below the level, right here. Just below the level of the normal L. It doesn't extend to the other letters over here. May be just a little tiny bit on the B right there. But It is actually a Class 5 double die. Class 5 or Class 8, one or the other.
Very, very minor, but it is there.
Now, Jeff Dunn. Let's see what we get for Jeff Dunn here. That's another one of those again. Really deep east and west die scratches running through the obverse. Not going to be anything.
Hey, I wish they would have commercials where Greek people would try to teach Americans how to say the Greek alphabet properly. This, well, first of all, the Delta variant kind of got me
Going in a tailspin. But then when they started talking about the next variant, the Lambda, like talking about the Lambda variant of the COVID, that almost made me physically ill to listen to. Lambda? Really? Can't we do a little better than that? The Greeks pronounced that letter lambda. Lambda.
Ishulu. Isuzu.
Of course, I'm one of those sticklers for pronunciation. I don't know. For me, pronunciation and enunciation are very important when you're speaking. Whether it be an engagement or just a conversation, regardless. I think it's important to be clear with your communication. As if you start chewing on marbles and mumbling, you're going to be hard to understand no matter who you're talking to. It takes certain skill to understand some people because they have taken the language to such an extreme.
Is that okay? I can't say Chevrolet.
Oh. These days, though, that very commercial would cause an uproar in the community of people who like to be offended. I think these people actually like to be offended. I think they want to have a voice, and they can't think of anything intelligent to say. So their voice is to have a voice for other people that they believe should be offended by something. Like the Cleveland Indians changing to the Cleveland Guardians, and the Washington Redskins losing their name. Now they're just the Washington football team. See what we have going on here. Nothing. Okay. Thought maybe we might have a little bit of doubling going on there, but after giving it another peek, I decided that I was seeing things.
Yes, Cleveland is actually changing to the Guardians, I do believe.
The Cleveland Guardians, which I guess it's the closest word they could think of that made some sense, that ended in dians, like Indians and Guardians. So it made them change as little as possible. Well, it's one of those things where, I mean, like even the rules of Facebook and the rules of YouTube and the rules of, TikTok and Twitter and all those others have so policed what we do and say that there really is no end. And, that's primarily, and I can tell you exactly what caused it. What caused it is that people lost respect for how they broadcast. People completely lost respect for what they broadcast, how they broadcast, what they say. If we still broadcast things like people did back in the 70s, we would be virtually unpoliced because we would have enough self-respect and respect for others as a whole to be able to do what we really wanted to do and how we wanted to do it without anyone telling us that we can't because we're being offensive. Because back then, there were a lot of things that people didn't do and didn't say, well, because they're just offensive. And now people are doing things just to be offensive, just to set off the other side of things. And so you got two sides that won't meet in the middle, that are employing the social media and other venues just to make themselves heard enough to make someone else angry. Just instigation is a good word for it. That's basically all that's happening now with social media is instigation. Just instigating issues, creating problems where they never have existed. If people would learn to just stop instigating and start broadcasting good, clean, entertaining fun, or good, clean information, they wouldn't have such a problem. A lot of people these days having problems. This one's not going to be anything. It's got that marker on it. I've decided that marker is nothing. I know I've seen the marker. Maybe that's what I said last time, too. Too bad we've got a great marker for nothing. Well, and then there's conversations that we should have the common sense enough not to get into because we know that they're inflammatory to others. And getting into conversations, especially because they're inflammatory to others, seems to be the mantra of certain stems of society these days, where they are doing nothing but attempting to say something that offends someone else, just to see what kind of a rise they can get. And they do. They get that rise. Then the other side does something to offend them, and then they're just doing this back and forth and back and forth. They just need to stop. There was one time when a man named Walter Cronkite came on television on CBS and reported the news, and that's all he did. Report the news. You didn't know if he was Democrat. You didn't know if he was Republican, Libertarian. You had no idea what his political sway was. You had no idea whether he had an opinion, one way or the other, on any story he reported because he merely reported the news. And that's the way it was. And Walter Cronkite was actually very good at what he did. In fact, a legend at what he did. And his primary reason for being such a legend at what he did is because he cared enough to do it right. You have journalists now who don't pronounce words properly. They don't even try. They don't pronounce names properly. I mean, like, Iraq and Iran. The only time I use Iran is I ran to the store. The name of the country is Iran. I can understand when they can't pronounce the names of countries that have sounds in them that we don't use. Like Qatar. Qatar is the name of the country. It's a guttural K. Qatar. It is not Qatar, but we insist on trying to pronounce it Qatar, just to be that way. Hey, Coin Dragon, what you doing, buddy? We're all the way up to coin number 47 now. 47, we only got 3 coins left in the roll, and this is one of them. Actually, only 4 coins left in the roll, and this is the 4th coin. Then we've got 3 left. There's another one with that marker on it. No idea what that marker is, but it sure is prevalent. It looks almost like a V or an upside down A. But it doesn't have the crosslet, and it's not large enough to be a letter from the coin. Part of an N, maybe? I don't know. Interesting. Whatever it is, it's damage on the die. Because we keep seeing these over and over again. Okay, we've got the possibility that we have others of these 2 dies in the roll. I'm going to keep these out as an example for Eric when he looks through the roll again. See if maybe he might spot a few of them. But we had one that was a bar L. And then the other was a possible doubling on the mint mark. Actually, it looked like it was pretty decent RPM, but I haven't seen another one. So that one is the only one that we pulled out of the roll so far. And we are up to the last coin in the roll for Yeoman. Next roll is going to be a 1956D. Then we have a 60D, then a 54D. This is the last coin in the roll. This is the one that was facing the outside. It's got some color on it, but it's sort of spotted up a little bit. All right, let's look at the shiny side. The shiny side up. Keep reaching for the stars and keep your feet on the ground. So I remember that was Casey Kasem. Did that many years ago. I really liked that guy's announcing and stuff. It was a long time before I learned that he was also the voice for Shaggy. I didn't put the 2 together for some reason. Okay, we've got what appears to mostly be a normal roll. Mostly a normal roll. And we've got 2 coins that could be something. We've got number 21 is probably an RPM, and that's for John Brandon Bow. And we've got coin number 34. Coin number 34 is also John Brandon Bow. I didn't notice that. And it's a bar L. So John Brandon Bow looks like he's going to walk away with the 2 die varieties that I noticed in this roll, of which there could be other examples. We don't know yet. We'll find out when Eric goes through the roll later on. I'm going to take about a 20 to 30 minute break off here, get prepared for a few more reveals, and then I'll do I need to do some packaging actually, because I've got a mail run coming at 1. I need to finish off a few more packages. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until 2 o'clock to start the streams back up. And I have 4 reveals left. So that's 2 o'clock through 5 o'clock, 2, 3, 4, 5. That might work. And if not, then I don't know. I'll schedule one of them. We'll see how it goes. So we'll be back at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, I wish you guys a great day. Be well.